Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever for another 5v5 cast on the Neuroxis map generator. So this is a game made for this game and this game only. Actually, it's a map made for this game and this game only. Screw the scuffed intro, we're still going with it. And of course, we need to introduce the teams, starting with all of the players in Team 1 up here at the north, and ending with all of the players down here in Team 2 in the south. Now, of course, we're going to start over here in the far east with the blue Seraphim going first, land. And of course, he has 1,300 rating behind his name, which is Dorset. And of course, up to the north of him, we have ourselves a red Cybern going first, air. With 1,400 rating behind his name, it is none other than Signal Runner. Then over to the northeast, we have a green Cybern and a good friend of mine. Everybody go down in the comments and tell Duelist how amazing he is. It's my former compatriot, and of course at 1,300 rating, the Duelist. And of course, I'll give an update on Duelist once we're done introducing all the players. But over here to the west, we have a Cyan Cybran, a lot of Cybran for this northern team. At 1,200 rating, it is none other than Master of Seasons. Then to the north of him, we have a Brown Aeon, best faction, going first, land at 1,500 rating. One of the highest rated players in this game. It is C2-118 Freedom. Then we can go down to the second team, and of course, starting with the White Aeon, best faction, going first, land with 1,100 rating behind his name. It is none other than In the Grand. Then, of course, we have a blue Cybran going first, land with 1,400 rating behind his name. It is Robort R600. Then over to the east of him, we have a lime green UEF going first, land. And of course, he has 1,000 rating to his name, which is Rabid Blue J1. And then down to the southwest, we have an orange Aeon going first, land, the highest rated player in the game at 1,900 rating, Eva X Magi. And last but not least for the entire game, we have ourselves a purple UEF going first, land, second, air, by the name of D's Nuts. Now, of course, I told you all I'd give you a Duelist update because people have asked about him. And no, I did not kill the Duelist. No, I didn't scare him away. The Duelist realized that he didn't really... I'm trying to remember the wording he used. He didn't really have time to commit to the YouTube channel after getting a new job where he had to work more hours. So it was a decision between the YouTube channel and personal life, and he chose his personal life. That's not to say he will never come back. There is always a possibility that Duelist could come back and make some videos, but as for now, it's just not something that is worth it for him, and he is doing well. We're going to try and get him on for a co-cast. I tried to do a co-cast with him, but the footage got borked, and I don't know if I told him. Yeah, Duelist, if you're watching this, that's why. But of course, let's go ahead and get into the action. We have bombers coming out from two players in the north. We have both C2-118 Freedom dropping a bomb, getting 2 kills there. And then we have a bomber over here for Signal Runner. And oh no, 3 engineers going down. Oh no, it's a disaster here in the early game for this southern team, taking a lot of deaths to those bombers. And now we have Signal Runner up here in the middle along with Master of Seasons. Also got Rabid Blue Jay over here, and they're all just kind of fighting here in the middle. We got some hot and heavy blammo cannon action going on between these players. I mean, I guess they're both Cybrans, so you know what? We're just going to check what the name of this is. Let's go ahead and check. What's the name? It is, of course, the Molecular Ripper Cannon. They're ripping each other apart at the molecular level. And now we have a UEF, which I think has like a quantum gun, is what it's called. Something like that. Quantum cannon. And, of course, Master of Seasons. He's taking a little bit of HP damage there. He is getting a little bit low at 6,400. We also have Signal Runner over here. He's doing pretty well for himself, trying to help out his ally, Rabid Blue Jay. is doing more damage on a Master of Seasons. Robort R600 is beelining over here to the far northeastern side of the map, and he is joined by the Duelist, who's trying to chase him down. He's gonna reclaim the naval factory. Oh, the disrespect. And the Duelist, he's gonna try and repair the naval factory. That seems ill-advised. And Robort R600 going to be in a good position here. Duelist, he kind of is forced to chase him onto land, but he may have been a little bit late with the commands. Should have just kept walking onto land, because now I'm not sure if he's going to be within range to fire on Robort. It's going to be close whenever he gets out of the water there. Let's see. Oh, he will be able to, so he's going to start chasing Robort. And now there's a Jester out from Signal Runner to start dealing damage onto him, and Robort may have just walked himself into a mission abortion, as that is a mission impossible right there. Yeah, you're just gonna die, man, my man. You're gonna get a few T1 mexes. Is your life worth that? I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that as we look around the map. A bunch of T1 bombers now showing up over here in the west for In the Grand, but they're gonna be caught out by a few interceptors coming out from Freedom. And over here, Robort, he's back in the water, having a staring contest with the Duelist. Oh, he's just standing there, menacingly! Here in the middle, we have Rabid Blue Jay and Signal Runner trading blows. And down to the south, Dorset managed to walk his way over here. He tried to get himself set up, but just didn't go his way. He's having to be back in the water. It's really weird, dark blue and light blue fighting each other. Also, I want to point out, Robert walked from all the way over here to all the way over here. Like, he is just a madman. He's just going everywhere. He's a globe traveler. And we have T2 Navy now showing up over here for Master of Seasons, and he's starting to shell down In the Grand's commander. Master of Seasons, I mean, he's going for this destroyer spam, but can he even really afford it? No, I mean, he honestly can't. He's gonna be in a rough position for a long time thanks to that. He's at 39 mass income. It was very expensive for him to even get out one. And now, of course, Robort 600. Was there a torpedo bomber? There was! Robort 600 goes down, and so does... Who was that? That must have been... Signal Runner. Yes, Signal Runner goes down with him. So the players in mirrored positions ended up dying and giving their base to, funnily, the same person on each team. Huh. Well then, that is a spicy meatball. That's a very, very interesting turn here. So now we're going to see Eva X Maggie and Freedom sitting on inflated ecos. But Eva X Maggie, first player over 100 mass a second, and honestly, he's about to be the first player over 150 at the rate he's going. But he does have to be worried about this naval presence now coming out from Master of Seasons. Destroyers are going to be no bueno for him, as they will be able to deal a lot of damage down onto his economy if left unchecked. But he could always go for torpedo bombers to deal with that. And now over here in the middle of the map, we have Master of Seasons and In the Grand fighting it out. But they are in a rough position here, as in the Grand is. He's not going to be able to, I think, hold on to this. He does have the Aurora spam coming across, but a few frigates will deal with that, and there's two commanders here now. He's probably going to have to give up on that. I really like this map. It's really created a very aggressive early game for both sides. And now, with this destroyer out onto the field, You gotta be worried for Eva X Maggie. He's the highest rated player, so he will respond to this better than anybody else. But how does he plan to deal with this? I mean, that's ambitious. Getting that right there. Your opponent is a stone throw away, and they're battleships, or I mean, I guess they're warships. So a stone throw is very far. They can throw stones incredible distances. And I feel like you just focus down the engineers here. You're going to be in a good position. Another destroyer and a cruiser coming out now for Master of Seasons. He's looking to win this. And now torpedo launcher is going to start coming up. You need to focus the engineers. You need to select these and tell them to fire on engineers first. The factories are just soaking damage. 3,700 HP. The engineers only have 120. You kill a lot more engineers than factories in a short time period. And it does seem as though Eva X Maggie is going to be taken out of the water before really even beginning. T3 Air has been achieved by Duelist. T3 Air finished up as well for D's Nuts. No strap bombers out just yet. And Duelist not even going to go for one. Neither is D's Nuts. Somehow all of these died. It's curious. Was that to a strap bomber, or was that just a normal bombers? I mean, there's nothing to indicate a drop. Maybe that was to... No, it couldn't have been to cruisers, because that's all Aeon. Must have been some kind of air incursion. Hard to keep track of everything with 10 players all actively doing their own thing. And now this naval presence for Master of Seasons is going to be relatively dangerous here. But he needs to be careful. He needs to come down here and get in behind the bases. That's where all of the value is back here behind the bases. Sitting over here where he is right now, I mean, all he's really killing is T1 mexes. And he finally does give an order to fall back a little bit. I think he's worried about torpedo bombers. Over here to the west, we might see a bit of engagement popping off. Exodus now showing up over here. Very angry cruiser kills off a T2 mex, or T1 mex. And the Auroras, they're getting some value here, but nothing massive. And now with artillery going up, the artillery takes a while, but it will eventually kill off destroyers and such. And also, you got to be looking at these torpedo bombers coming in for D's Nuts. They're going to be very dangerous. And over here to the west, we now have fervor drops coming in for Freedom. Maybe this is how we got it earlier, but not gonna land this time. Good for Indy Grand to stop that. The T2 naval power over here is staying alive. I don't know if he's even lost a T2 naval unit yet. Seems as though maybe he's interested in walking all... Yeah, he's gonna try and walk all the way over to this other pond to try and win it for his team. And we're about to see cruiser production come online, and we in fact have our first cruiser over here for Dorset. A lot of energy being given to Maggie, and he can't afford his shields. I don't even think he has a T2 Pigeon yet. Oh no, it's a disaster! right now for Maggie. He's fully forced out of the water. He does have an okay economy. I mean, okay isn't good. He was sitting on 2 bases. He gave one of the bases to end the grand. But Duelist and Freedom are looking strong here. 2 highest economies in the game. And Maggie is just being picked apart. And a few mechs is given over to the Duelist, and he was trying to give them back. He's saying that they need air. Duelist currently sitting on 11 ASF. Let's go ahead and check in on D's Nuts, who has 9. So Duelist does have air as of the moment. And In the Grand has played very well, has managed to keep his team from being navally locked on both sides, but gonna have to be a little bit worried. I know that he's an active member of the community, and I'm very proud to see him throwing out the hover spam. The hover spam, incredibly effective in defensive engagements. What it's gonna struggle with is trying to push down these forces. And also, quite critically, you're gonna see here that Freedom, he's sitting on ridiculous. Let's see, he has 7,000 mass in submarines. That 7,000 mass does nothing to any of the hover. So his surface fleet is suffering due to the weird importance placed onto submarines. Either that or the submarines are the only thing surviving the engagements. Over here in the middle, we have 4 Salems trying to waltz their way over. Just reminds me of that SpongeBob meme, like, you want to see me run to that mountain and back? Want to see me doing it again? Because he's like, God, they're slow. So slow. Doesn't even look like they're moving on the mini-map sometimes. Keep him out of the pond. Yeah, they do need to focus that. That does need to be a thing, but he just sent all of his navy to the north thinking it was in the bag. But if this pond is lost for the northern team, they will be kicking themselves. That'll be a situation that they created a hell of their own design, honestly. And we're now going to start seeing... We have T2 land. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see T2 hover. But I would love to see T2 hover in the hands over here for Eva Maggie. Honestly, the 2 Aeon players for the southern team are kind of a duality here. Eva struggling against people much lower rated than him, and In the Grand performing admirably against people much higher rated than him. But I feel like the tide is changing here. As these Exodus start to come online, they start to fire. Exodus, a very powerful weapon. Destroyer on destroyer action here going on. It looks as though there's some amount of focus fire coming out from the Exodus, which is important. The Aurora showing up. Auroras and Blazes and Hover Spam in general against Seraphim is, quite honestly, the hardest faction to do it against. Seraphim with their destroyers are very adept at dealing with hover. We also have a bunch of pillars here in the middle, and Dorset is in trouble as Rabid Blue Jay is trying to chase him down. Dorset might be ejected here very soon. 2,000 HP, there's not much left, but there's really not much left to hurt him. But if he goes into the water, there's torpedo bombers, which could be useful here. You just need to ping it. 5 or 6 torpedo bombers and he's dead. Nobody pings it. You gotta converse with your allies. Your ally is literally sitting on the key to destroying light blue, and you didn't go for it. Okay, Master of Seasons has, he doesn't understand economy. But I like his gumption. He's about to finish a battleship with 63 mass income, and for all the pros, or higher level Joes, or people who understand how much this costs, that hurts. That hurts a lot. That's a painful thought, having to build a battleship with 63 mass income. I think that's why we haven't seen him build a boat in so long. His 4 Salems that went up to the north, well, they're dead. So there's this weird situation happening here where these submarines are killing the surface fleet of In the Grand, but his hover is killing the surface fleet of Freedom. And you can just see all of these blazes. They're just getting right on top of these destroyers, and actually the destroyers didn't die, they were gifted over. There's still 3 of them left. They're getting right on top of these, and they're trading very effectively. The Asylums, you'll be surprised how often these Asylums get their shields to come on 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And all of that HP that they're adding effectively to their fleet. In fact, I would argue that if you have this, if you have somebody hover spamming you, one of the good things you can do is tell your ships to focus Asylums, or focus. You can focus Asylum with the built-in FAF one. If you have the full version, you can just tell them to attack shields, and they'll focus it down. Meanwhile, over here to the southeast, that's a lot of Exodus. And that's a big problem right now for this northern team. That battleship, the battleship seems like such a mistake to me. Like, yeah, now you have a battleship, and you're going to be able to use that to deal with these destroyers pretty alright. But you could have just prevented the destroyers in the beginning if you kept building destroyers. Also, kind of the same story for these cruisers, but I guess there was a lot of torpedo bombers causing issues there. And now over here to the north, you can see this hover, it's just constantly pushing forward, and it's pushed Freedom into a corner. He can't run anymore. But the hover is kind of running out here, slowly but surely. Let's go ahead and check in on these reclaim numbers. 15,000 for In the Grand. He's really out here reclaiming, and you can see that showing up for him here. He's also sitting on a relatively strong economy of 172. Overall economies, the northern team up by about 60, maybe 70 mass a second. His battleship here up to 19 kills, nearly 5,000 mass killed. I mean, it's getting value. It's killing off these Exodus very effectively, but there's going to be so many Exodus producing. I don't understand this obsession with T3 Navy here. Your opponent is indexing on T2 and winning against you. The battleship's halfway dead. And this eastern pond is gonna fall for the northern team. They're just not gonna be able to hold on to it, and they haven't been able to foist the aggression out from In the Grand yet. Airfight did seemingly happen, and Duelist, it's fish in a barrel right here. As all of the ASF over here for these nuts go down. Over here to the west, In the Grand, he's put up a good fight. He's played a good game, but it seems as though he just kind of lost his production somehow. He must have lost some of these hover production facilities, and now he's about to lose all of the rest of his production. And things are gonna get very bad for him very quickly. So we're having a bit of a yin-yang moment. Anytime somebody wins in the east pond, the other team wins in the west pond. and vice versa. As the naval production yards are going to go down, and In the Grand is almost assuredly going to collapse here. Don't know why he was going for T3 air. I mean, I guess he sees his ally losing. Duelist, yet again, just you're constantly seeing Duelist chase the ASF of D's nuts. And that's the position you want to be in as an air player, being the one on the aggressive with the air fights and winning them. And we now see this overwhelming navy out from Eva X Maggie, and he's pushing in towards the production of Dorset, and I don't think Dorset's going to be able to deal with this. Sure, he's going to get out Yassaus, but those will be dealt with by Exodus. But there's no Exodus left. Oh, interesting. That's a development. Another battleship being built by Master of Seasons. And these torpedo bombers for the Duelist. He's investing so much into trying to protect his ally in the water over here. The naval blockade of In the Grand begins, and his base is slowly but surely being dismantled, building by building. The beautiful Aeon Armada is winning on both seas. A pure, or an almost pure Aeon force on the northern side for freedom. And Eva X Maggie winning with his pure Aeon force. Aeon rules the seas in this game here today. Yeah, all but one ship being Aeon there. As a Novax is on the way for Rabid Blue Jay. That could be a very big development here. Yet again, we're seeing that yin yang, or the Ouroboros, where there's just this circular motion of death and destruction going on. You know what this is called? Unfortunate. Yep, this is we're just gonna watch this. Yep. That's what happens. That's just how it be sometimes, guys. I think it speaks for itself. What the hell happened to the Navy over here? It was brought back to deal with Percivals. That's a T3 land production facility making Aurora. And In the Grand has now built a Monkey Lord. I guess that's where all of his economy was going earlier. And now with all of the Barracudas being produced here, I mean, they're going to slowly kill off these frigates. But it doesn't feel like it's going to be very significant, honestly. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised to see Eva X Maggie go for Torrents. The map is small enough that he would get a ton of value out of them if he could protect them. Now, protecting them is a different matter. And there was a huge air fight recently, and it seems as though Duelist has fallen behind on air. That Novak's about to finish, the Monkey Lord already being done, is ill tidings for this northern team, because if it manages to get to one of these bases, there's nothing to stop it. And Duelist not going for any AA. I always feel it's a mistake. Once you have it, commit just 1 or 2 T3 engineers to run around the map building SAMs for your allies, it really takes the pressure off of you to micro perfectly. And I know there's going to be pros saying, oh, it's not efficient. You're spending all this mass on SAMs that could have been spent on fucking anything else. But, you know, I've even seen pros where like, oh, well, if you had like a few SAMs dotted around the map, that would have really helped you here. I'm sticking to my guns on this one. It's basically passive air control. And in comes the Novax. And Duelist is about to be a very sad person, because his air grid is unprotected. Yep, that is a very exposed air grid, and my phone just decided to notify me at the perfect time. Thank you. Everybody, Sonic wants me to know that they have a deal running right now. Anybody curious? This scuffed production from Willow Industries. Now we have strap bombers. Is it just one, or is he going to produce more? He is producing a lot of strap bombers, starting now, which is a scary prospect. The air grid for Duelist goes down. And that's an omen. In fact, it's two of them. So this base over here going to fall apart, but the Monkey Lord is making a landing, and Dorset, he's not long for this world, I'll tell you that. And Dorset goes down at the 31-minute mark. And that is, honestly, how do they deal with the Monkey Lord? I mean, much less the Novax. It's just kind of chilling. Duelist has so much eco freedom. That's reclaim related. It looked like he had 1.2 thousand reclaim for a bit. Duelist walking over here. That's a bit dangerous. He's trying to run away from the Monkey Lord. Maybe not. Well played, air, says Duelist. And just like that, we've had so long where this game's been a 4v4, and it's about to be a 4v2. As Duelist goes down, defeated by In the Grand. What? What did In the Grand have here? And Control K out of Master of Seasons, and this Northern team is dropping like flies. Went from a 4v4 to a 1v4 very quickly. Honestly, that might be insulting to flies with how quickly they went down. And all that's left is Freedom and his commander in a 1v4. He has 1,000 mass a second. He technically has the superior income compared to the Southern team. But what do you even build with it? You're already getting outpaced on standoff technology. He's building torrents. He has this hover spam army that's helping him out. That's a line of shields being built by In the Grand to try and push out towards the sea. I don't know why, but it does exist. And it's literally just down to a snipe, and they should know where the commander is. Like, it seems pretty obvious to me that that's a commander. And this Monkey Lord, it might be countered by all of these restorers, and it might be killed. But it's done its job. 93,000. Oh, it was killed by In the Grand because he had the Monkey Lord there. Dodoy. I was really, for some reason, expecting Rabid Blue Jay to get the kill. And that's a Duke on the way. That's a lot of scouts. They're trying to find the commander of Freedom. Now Freedom at an economic disadvantage versus the entirety of the enemy team. He's trying to push in and make something happen with his hover. And all of his battleships over here. So the same is going to be happening to him with torrents on the other side. It's just so many torrents. I love to see it. And what's gonna go on? He's back on land. There is a Novax in play. And he is making progress over here against In the Grand. I'm just kind of expecting a snipe at this point, though. Monkey Lord could try and come back in and get the kill. It most likely won't with all these restorers in the air. And I think that was a Control K. That was indeed a Control K out from Freedom. Thank you all so much for watching. You've been so beautiful. This is Willow signing off.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the